So you're muted.
Son of a bitch. Am I all right? Am I still muted now?
No, you're fine.
All right, yeah. Fucking StreamYard. Anyway, welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews. And it's Thursday, so we got a singles with me and Mara. Yeah, that one. Freaking can't stand pointing when I have to do pointing in this shit. Anyway, we got a great one for you, folks. This movie is actually a great Dracula movie. Kind of like a what-if scenario, which I'll let Mara cover that one because she actually posed it. It's like, what if?
Yeah.
So
So it's a very interesting what if scenario. Like I said last night after my stream when we were talking backstage, like again, don't get your history from Hollywood, but at the same time, it posed a very interesting what if, and that is pretty much what if Vlad Tepes, aka Vlad the Impaler, actually became Dracula. Like he wasn't just the inspiration for Dracula, he actually became Dracula, which is why I picked this, as well as Bram Stoker's Dracula for October, because it also poses that similar scenario.
So before we or let everybody know where they can find you, and then we'll say hello to the chat, and then we'll get going.
Yeah. Well, primarily I go by Jade Shadow on YouTube. So I used to be under Mara Jade, but people were every time they tried looking me up, they'd always see like videos about Mara Jade, not me. So I changed my name to Jade Shadow, figured making it easier for people to find me. And I cover most things pop culture. Right now I've been primarily covering Rings of Power articles that I can tear into because season 2 is coming up very shortly, or rather shortly. And you have Screen Rant's already shilling for Rings of Power. So I've been covering that. I do solo live streams Friday afternoons, early Friday afternoon. So tomorrow on my live channel, Jade Shadow Live, and then following shortly after that, I do a gaming stream on my Kick. Normally just like a chill gaming stream because it's a Friday and I just like to relax. Because I generally can't stream Friday evening. But when I do gaming streams, it's primarily on my Kick, Jade Shadow also, or on Twitch, which I do once a week roughly, and that's Jade's Fire. I have a branding issue there. So tomorrow I'll be on Kick, and I'll try. I doubt I'll be able to do a gaming stream Saturday afternoon because I'll be getting back so late. And Talk Nerdy will have to be earlier than normal, and I'll remind Steph of that because again, I won't be able to stay up to the normal time.
Alrighty. So let's say hello to the chat. Also, before we get going on that, I should also let everybody know my schedule and shit. I can be found here, as you all know. Sunday, or I'm getting content out as I can. I did a review for The Phantom earlier today. Love that movie. I haven't seen it in over 20 years. It still holds up. It honestly still holds up with the campiness, or even with the campiness and whatnot, because that was the director's vision. Sunday, I do the MCU Sundays. I got Captain Marvel coming up that night. Yay! You could just hear the sarcasm, folks.
Yeah.
But anyway, Mondays are no longer Monday Mayhem. That was just for the Sharknado movies. However, I will also be looking to get more stuff out on Mondays. Tuesdays are the Tuesday theme streams. I got Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it's Batman themed this month. Wednesdays we'll be doing on Tuesday nights. I'm on the Barroom Podcast with Society Reviews. Then Wednesday night I am doing ones and twos with Mara on her channel for Evil Dead 2.
Yes.
And then we will be doing another singles next week with Daybreakers with Ethan Hawke, Sam Neill, and Willem Dafoe. So, without any further ado, let's say hello to the chat. We got Trey Courtney in the chat. How you doing? Hey, Orange Hat and Mara. I'm ready for this lit discussion. Also, folks, make sure that you impale that like button because, well, we are talking about Vlad the Impaler. And we got Skyhound28. Good to see you. Hey, OHR. As I mentioned online, this take on Dracula was definitely one that I enjoyed. Charles Dance and his performance on this film was top notch. Yes, it was. And this is also one of, I think, 2 or 3 movies that Charles Dance played a vampire in. Or, well, yes, 3 movies definitely, because he played 2 Underworld movies where he played a vampire, almost an elder, but not quite. So yeah, howdy Orange Hat, Gravy D, howdy Orange Hat Mara.
He was in Underworld?
He was in he was in the last 2.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because I haven't seen the last 2. Because I was like going back through the ones I had seen. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember.
Awakening was okay. Blood Wars went off the rails.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and watch this. I think I saw Awakening, but I don't remember it. Like, it did not make an impression on me that, like, and then I definitely did not see the last one.
Yeah, I actually like Awakening. It's an okay next installment, but when they did Blood Wars, it's like, you guys really should have brought back Speedman. You really should have brought back Speedman. Because, yeah, they went into a shit direct. They went mystical, and they shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Grave D, howdy, OHRMR in chat. Didn't get the chance to watch it. No spoilers. Just kidding. I'll be listening. Thank you. Elena Na, good to see you. She's one of the loyals. How you doing? Let's see here. Gravy D's hitting on Mara. Looking good, Mara. Solo session. Smash the like. Good to see you, buddy. Miss you.
Okay, yeah, I did see The Awakening, so I remember the giant werewolf, but I don't remember anything else.
Yeah, the Uber
from that
Lycan.
movie. I don't remember the giant. I just remember the giant Lycan. That's it.
Yeah. RR, yes, it did deserve to have a sequel made. Unfortunately, it didn't do well in the box office.
Mm-hmm.
What, Dracula isn't real?
Yeah, like
gravity. Oh shit, this chat is jumping on me. That's weird. So early in the stream, I get a chat jump. That's nuts. You're going to tell me werewolves aren't real, Trey?
I don't know how to break that to you, Trey.
Yeah, Lynx and yeah, he was in Awakening. Let's see here. Charles Dance hooked up with Amelia the Elder. Yeah, he got lucky with Amelia, man. Zeta Gorig, hot chick.
Mm-hmm.
And alrighty, we are caught up. I enjoyed Awakening, everybody. Everybody enjoyed Awakening. Okay, good. Yeah. All right, good. Now, folks, again, before we do get started, I do want to clarify, I do not own the rights to this movie. Those rights are reserved for Universal Studios and any other subsequent houses that helped produce this movie. So when I am bringing it up on screen, YouTube, I am doing this under fair use and commentary. We are going over an appreciation for this film. We are not here to drag it through the mud. We will give some critiques, yes, but we are not here to shit on the movie because we know that you have a bias for people who like to shit on things. So yes, we are just basically showing our appreciation for this film. If I do play a little bit, I am sharing the tab without audio, so nobody's going to hear anything that happens. So yes, as much as I would like to, I am taking at least that precaution. So you know what? Don't strike my fucking stream. Anyway, hey Vanya, good to see you. You're coming in. Good to see you. He's also another one of the loyals, folks. So, also, fun news. My frickin' tax form finally went through, and I can finally receive super chats and shit. So yes, I'm half monetized by the YouTube standard. So now, without further ado, let's get this thing up. We have Dracula Untold, and there's a brilliant. Well, actually, let's make this a little bigger, shall we? There's that. It's a little bit better. Well, now let's just do Well, no, I can't go too far in because that way I won't be able to do the timestamps. Now, we had the Ingerus introduction who talked about the Turks and their invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And his thoughts on Vlad the Impaler and how everybody called him Vlad the Impaler, yet he called him Father, but everybody else would know to call him by his later, more infamous name, Dracula. And then we get to the scene where the guy, Skelgim, who is actually in this movie a lot more than just the beginning, because it's like, holy crap, we barely even recognized him in the beginning of the movie. Let me actually show, because he finds this helmet in the river.
This is a Turkish helmet. Well, no, Ottoman helmet. Like, wouldn't be Turkish, be Ottoman helmets, but
yeah, it's a scout, or it's a Turkish scout helmet. Yeah. But they call them the Turks in this.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see if I can go over this way. See if I can actually. There's his mater, or let's see, that's one of his guys. Bring it to me. The helmet. All right, I know exactly how far back to go. That guy just looks like not having a good day. Anyway. No, yeah, there he is, Skelgim, who actually has a bigger role in this. And he's the one who finds the helmet. However, let me get my damn talking points up because my phone keeps going off. Yeah, let's see here. All right, 6:15. And let's see here. So yeah, they find the helmet and they're talking about
the Renfield character.
Yes, he's very much a Renfield character. Let's see here, 6:15. And so they see the mountain Broken Tooth where it came downstream from the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go into the mountain and essentially they're finding other armor and whatnot from different times. The floor is crushed bone. And let's see here, 6:15. We then see that there is something looking at them inside the cave with a very weird, or more like sonar kind of, as we could see on screen here. I'm going frame by frame here so that people can see just how a vampire sees in this movie. It's kind of very cool if you really ask me. Because you can like see how the blood is pooled in his chest.
Yes.
So
very much sonar, and
yeah,
whenever the heart beats, the red shows up. So it's kind of like again, it's like a little detail that I appreciate, much like in Dog Soldiers, where to differentiate between how the characters are seeing the world versus the werewolves themselves. The werewolves themselves see in grayscale, which is similar to how dogs see the world. And I kind of like that, appreciate that little detail, and I appreciate this little detail because of as per like vampire legends, as it morphs throughout the centuries, vampires in particular are able to shapeshift into bats.
Yes.
So while it yes and no doesn't exactly show that in this film, it's very bat-like in nature how he sees in the dark.
Yeah. And we then get the scene with or as they're leaving, because both of the men that are with Vlad end up getting taken. Mm-hmm. And Vlad gets in one lucky swing, as you can see with the sword here. So I am going to play this just a little bit to show you the effects of the sun on the blood, where it's literally evaporating the blood because, well, it is unholy blood. Mm-hmm. Which is that was actually a very nice a very nice effect that they had. And so then he runs to the monastery, and we see them looking, or Lucian and the other monks had a collective dream that an unholy creature would eventually lay waste to their monastery, which isn't exactly what happens in this movie, but close enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so no wonder it didn't do well. It came out 2 weeks before John Wick. Yeah.
That would do it.
Mm-hmm. My appreciation of this film is that it's basically a half-decent Castlevania live-action adaptation. Kind of, yeah. Kind of. I mean, Dracula went nuts after his wife died, so yeah.
Well, I mean, I could I don't exactly blame him, but like I said, it plays fast and loose with actual history surrounding Vlad Tepes. But again, it's like with the movie 300. It never really never passes itself off as like a documentary or a biography or anything like that. So I can overlook that aspect of the film and just appreciate it as, again, like the what if scenario.
Yeah.
So unlike the Netflix docuseries on Cleopatra that tried passing itself off as an actual documentary series, this one doesn't.
Yeah. And then another, let's see here, what was the other timestamp? 17 seconds in. I mean, you can, or also this is based on the word pi, to drink, the Greek word pi. So also the Greek letter,
yeah.
Which kind of.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a little bit of a stretch.
Yep. Now, turn off the caps and go frame by frame, because they actually do show son of a bitch a picture of Charles Dance, see right here, and the demon that basically gave him his. All right, that'll work. What did I just do? I don't know, but it worked. That Faustian bargain in the cave, very much, yes. It was a solid movie. I blame Universal for not pushing it harder. Yeah. The Faustian bargain in the cave with Vlad and the Master Vampire, and the dialogue was top notch. Yes, it was. Charles Dance is great in everything. He saved Last Action Hero.
Last Action Hero is special.
Yeah. Short but special in some ways.
I love the movie.
So do I.
I know I'm gonna point. I can see the flaws, but I love the movie.
Yeah. So not sure, Dracula or Daredevil. Yeah, right. The Vamp Vision is another thing they did well. I like how he see. Yes, Silver is also obscured with visions from the vampire. It shines brighter than anything around it. The Dark Universe had potential, but this was actually supposed to kick off the Dark Universe. Then came that shit Mummy movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman was hot, but
the movie sucked.
Yeah, the movie sucked, and Russell Crowe could not save it.
Nope, he could not save. Unfortunately, he could not save. And I think Russell Crowe is actually supposed to be, at least become the Invisible Man or something. It was something like tied to that.
He was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. I knew it was another like literary character that he was supposed to become at some points. But because the Mummy bombed so royally at the box office, it never materialized. So would have been interesting. But But like this had potential.
Mm-hmm.
The Mummy, no.
Yeah. Soul Assassin. This movie was its own movie, but then they thought about bringing it into the Dark Universe because this movie was actually planned to be a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
If it had succeeded in the box office, unfortunately, it didn't.
I would have at least seen a sequel. I don't trilogy could have been done, but at least a sequel. What I would have preferred if it were to be a trilogy, I would have preferred them to. It would have been. It probably would have been accused of member berries and things like that, but I would have preferred the middle movie to be set in the time of Bram Stoker, when Bram Stoker wrote Dracula.
Yeah.
So you have the actual Dracula. How do I put this? Causing all this to go down, basically, and causing causing the scenario and inspiring Bram Stoker to write Dracula, and then have the third movie jump forward to like more present day ish versus like this movie where like it, like the ends with it's jumped forward to present day.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have preferred as a trilogy, where it's like it weirdly him being actually Dracula strangely inspired Bram Stoker to write Dracula.
Yeah. Honestly, that actually sounds like a pretty good thing, because then you could have had Bram Stoker in the freaking film.
Yeah. I'm saying like it would have been like one of those like Inception type of films where it's like it's actually happening basically in London, like in London and so forth, and like what's going on inspires Bram Stoker to write the book.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, folks, this movie would not have been made if it wasn't for Luke Evans' success in Fast and Furious 6. Because the Universal thought he did such a great job that they approached him for a new project, and they threw a bunch of different ones down at his feet, and he's like, Dracula, let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to play the Prince of Darkness?
Right. And so they're going over the legend here where he summoned a demon, this man who wanted more power than he had, and he was given that power. However, he was confined to the cave that Vlad was just in. So he's searching for somebody to basically pass on the gift, so to speak, so then he can be freed from the cave and become a scourge upon the land.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, we need to keep this, or Vlad tells him, he's like, my people are already living in fear because of the Turks' return. Keep this a secret. Do not tell anybody. So, yeah. We then get a nice little touch of Vlad and his family, and apparently he was converted to Christianity after his slaughtering days, because there was a part in the beginning of the movie where he is literally has a rosary in his hand, and he's praying, kneeling down, praying for forgiveness before God to repent for impaling all those people. And it's like, yeah, that's fresh after impalement. I don't think he's going to quite forgive you. You got a lot of repenting to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have a nice scene where we notice that there are scars on his back after he's talking with his wife in the tub and had a nice chat with his son. And the scars on his back are from, let's see here if I can get the right moment. Let's see here. No, that's a lady shot for all the women. There we go. Where you can see the scars all over his back here, folks, where it's very much plain that this dude had a very harsh upbringing, because he was given to the Sultan, Mehmed the First, in order as a show of loyalty from Transylvania and Romania.
Yeah, by his father, and like that actually did happen to Vlad. However, what they like again, like I said, don't get your history from Hollywood, pretty much. But Vlad actually had 3 brothers, and him and the other like middle brother were sent as basically that offering to Mehmet the First, as like show of loyalty to from Vlad's father to the Ottoman and to the Ottomans. And it wasn't until Vlad did return, but it was I think it wasn't until it was close to or after his father and older brother were assassinated. So the natural assumption would have been that Vlad would have taken over the throne, so to speak, because he would have been next in line, because he was of the family, the surviving older brother at that point. But he actually waged battles not only against the Turks, but against his younger brother, who sided with the Turks. So he actually fought against his younger brother.
And he had to kill his younger brother, if I remember correctly.
So
a lot of people, or this movie portrays Vlad as very compassionate and wants what's best for his people. History paints a very different picture of Vlad Tepes, folks. He was very cruel. Yes. He also had a very dark sense of humor because he would joke about the people he had just impaled.
Yeah.
This man was not a nice man.
Nope.
Because the only real law in Transylvania at the time wasn't, the only real punishment for breaking laws was impalement. There was no other, you go to jail for a few days, spend some time in a dungeon or whatever. Nope. You get caught stealing, impalement. You get caught killing, impalement. You get caught sleeping with your neighbor's wife, impalement. And her, if she was cheating on the husband, impalement.
Yeah.
This dude did not fucking care. You break the law in my country, you're set to the stake. So, let's get to the merriment, where the Turks come in, and they're like, asking about their missing scouts, and he's like, I didn't kill them, and the Turks have no enemies here. So, this guy here, in the foreground, then starts taunting Dracula or Vlad, saying, I know it's buried deep inside you and you can feel it. It's like a caged animal just wanting to be set free. Basically, Lord Impaler is what they call him. They don't call him anything else. They call him Lord Impaler because these people grew up with Vlad and they know his dark history. So, let's see here. And before they leave, after he says, take the tribute and leave. Well, this guy has one more thing. The Sultan requests 1,000 boys for the Janissary Corps. Now, the Janissaries, folks, were child soldiers. And much like Vlad, he was one of the Janissaries. In fact, he was the head of the Janissaries after about a year of being in the Sultan's care. He would later become their most deadliest Janissary of all of the child soldiers. And we learned from Vlad that practice was abandoned years ago. Well, according to, or what's not said in the theatrical version, there is a more slightly extended version where he says the Sultan revived it. Or Mehmed II revived it. So, yeah. Boys 10 or 16 and older will go to Hungary. Boys 10 years old to 15 would be made for the siege of Vienna. And his advisor, after we get a little bit of a, let's see here, where's the next timestamp? 1441. One of the let's see here. One of the scouts, so to speak, right here, soft, but they'll do. And he's about to cut off the guy who's sitting right here, his hand, because he tries to take his hand off of his son. And that's when Vlad's like, yeah, leave him alone. And he tries being all tough. I mean, you could see that dude's like, you dare put your hands on me?
Yeah.
And he asks him in Hungarian, I believe, do you know who I am? I know who you were. And then Vlad is reminded by Hamza Bey, the person who was there for the tribute, the leader of the Turkish group, right there.
Wouldn't it be in Turkish, not Hungarian?
Yeah.
Like, Vlad could speak Turkish and
he could speak many languages. He was actually quite, as insane as the man was, he was also quite intelligent. He was a tactical genius.
Yeah, so it's like,
yeah, I mean, this man was not. You wouldn't fuck with him. Let's just say that. And he tells him, you have no army, you have no choice. So the advisor tells him, a prince's duty is to his people. Anger, love, courage, it cannot matter to a prince. So, yeah he has no choice.
Very much, I get where the advisor is coming from, but at the same time, it's like it's very much the appeaser approach.
Mm-hmm.
I just do it, make them happy, and like we'll be fine for a while.
Yeah. So this brings up a fun fact. Alyssa Phillips, a producer, called the film an epic, sweeping action fantasy film. It's much more in the land of Lord of the Rings, tonally, but that doesn't mean you should expect to see loads of carnage. Phillips also noted, we want kids to enjoy this. Blood is an omnipresent, iconic story point of vampirism. We can't deny that, but gore doesn't have to be. If you want to see the film about Vlad the Impaler, this is probably not it. Yeah, they don't really go very gory in this. They have blood, yes, but not gore.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it gory.
Yeah, this movie is definitely not gory. So then we get to him going to visit Mehmed, which is 30 seconds too soon. There he is. Played brilliantly by Dominic Cooper, by the way. And why do they have coffee? I mean, it's like the only thing I miss from you guys is the coffee. It's like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, so I said, don't get your history from Hollywood.
Yeah, it's like, please tell me that you guys aren't kidding, because definitely don't get your Hollywood from video games or Hollywood, because even in the Assassin's Creed game, they had, or freaking Leonardo da Vinci created coffee.
Yeah, so
it
wouldn't be this early.
Yeah.
So there's more. I would say it's like, it's like probably. I'm not trying to defend the inclusion of it, but I would wager it's more like an anachronism than anything, where it's like, it's like something there that, like, that harkens back to a different time period that doesn't belong. And what's Turkey? One of the things that Turkey is known for is their coffee.
Yeah.
So it's probably, I would hazard bet, like, and then if I were giving them credit, I would say it's an anachronism, but I would wager it's probably someone who doesn't know history writing the script.
Yeah. And so he's told, I am owed 1,000 boys. Why haven't I seen him? I mean, he's like, or you can ask me for anything, but don't ask for that. And he tells him, I will have my 1,000 boys. And one more, your son. And Vlad's like, don't do this, man. Don't do this. And he's like, it's just one child. If you're virile, you'll have plenty more. That was a new word I learned when I was young, or I saw this movie. It's like, the fuck does that mean? Oh! Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Oh, yeah. Very much know what virile means.
Yeah. So then we get to the next scene where Hamza Bey freaking just taunts his ass even more. Or he freaking he's like, oh, he can't, or we were expecting you to have a little bit more defiance, you know? And also this part here between him and Morena, she's like, do you remember when you asked to marry me what I said? You said no. But do you remember what happened after that? You said that if you love me, you should trust me. I love you. Then trust me. And this guy here is like, it's either this or we start a war. His advisor is trying to talk sense into Vlad. Morena is trying to talk sense into Vlad from two different aspects. She does not want to let her son go. Would you want to let your kid go? No, I wouldn't either. The Great Impaler can't please his wife. That just works in so many different ways, folks. But yeah, they're basically taunting him. And they're saying, we expect you to have more resistance. Also, Ingaris is willing to, he's actually willing to go so that there's no trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Vlad's like, no, this isn't going to happen. Now, this is one part here. If I can just get to it. 21:16. Yeah, he pulls, or after he tells his son to leave, he pulls a sword on this guy, or on Hamza Bey, or he pulls Hamza Bey's sword, and literally in one swipe, slices off both of his arms. I mean, that's what he's doing here, and then he just delivers the coup de grace there.
Mm-hmm.
And he then slaughters the other Turks, and they're like, what have you done? I mean, you can't protect us. Or you just started war. So, he's like, I'll find a way. And his advisors is, where are you going? Whatever haunts Broken Tooth, it kills Turks.
Yeah.
So he's going for the bargain of a lifetime, folks. Quite literally, I should say. And we get this lovely scene here where we meet the vampire, or the master vampire. Charles Dance, I gotta say this, Mara. Charles Dance has such gravitas in every scene he plays in, where he is literally he has nobility. This is a theater actor, folks. This is a theater-taught actor, Charles Dance. And that, when you have a theater background, you have a much greater way of delivering dialogue, especially older actors.
Yeah, you can definitely tell someone who has a theater background because of how they enunciate. Because in theater, you have to enunciate every word and add inflection to whatever your performance is, so people in the back can hear. And like, you know, you can definitely tell someone who's had theater, a background in theater versus someone who went straight to Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And Charles Dance is one of those in his presence, in his delivery. Like I said, in how he enunciates words and so forth. Like you believe that he is this master, this old, thousands of year old vampire at this point.
So, speaking of how old he is, folks, another fun fact, the vampire, or the master vampire, is revealed to be, or not in the movie, but was going to be revealed to be Caligula. I believe he was a Roman emperor, if I remember my history right.
Yeah, one of the Roman emperors, very much a deviant, very much a degenerate, very much.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, see, which makes sense. Which makes sense given Caligula's history and what he's notoriously known for.
Yeah.
It's like he was a Caesar, yeah, but like, you know, so he was but he was one of those where it's you. As much of a butcher as Vlad is, he would pale in a sense, in comparison to how Caligula was.
Mm-hmm. And I do like how he asked, and he's like, Vlad the Impale, or son of the devil. And he's like, you're mistaken. It's son of the dragon, protector of the innocent. And do your people know how many people you've killed? Was it hundreds? Yes. And that's when he's just not bullshitting. This is a person you don't want to fucking lie to, because he grabs him by the throat and he puts him up against a rock. Lie to me again, I'll slit you from your frickin' groin to your belt, or your belly to your brain, and feed you your own intestines.
Yes.
Such a great line. And he's like, so he realizes, okay, thousands. And when you put them to the stake, what did you feel? Horror, shame, power. Well,
nothing.
He's like, nothing. A greater evil than the act itself.
Mm-hmm.
But by putting one town to the stake, I spared 10 more. Sometimes the world no longer needs a hero. Sometimes what it needs is a monster. It is one of the best that is one of the best lines in cinema, because there is times in the world, folks, and events in the world where if a violent point needs to be made, and then there are times where there's a time to be violent and there's a time to be diplomatic.
Mm-hmm.
And Vlad the Impaler lived in a time where impalement got the point across.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Can't think of it. So, yeah. And so he's like, and you think you know what it's like to be a monster.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And we get the ugliest tongue shot ever, which I will not show.
Yeah, I know.
So he then gives him he's like, for thousands of years, I've languished in here, cursed by the one who turned me, waiting for somebody who would be worthy of the dark power, somebody with your strength of will. So if I am your salvation, you are mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then he puts some blood in a crushed skull. Drink. You will have the strength of 100 men, speed of a falling star, dominion over the night and all its creatures, to see and hear through their senses, even heal grievous wounds. But also he will have a thirst that is insatiable for blood. Mm-hmm. And if he can hold out for 3 days, he will return to normal. If he feeds, he will be this for eternity, and the master or vampire Caligula here will be set free from the cave to wreak vengeance upon the one who turned him. Now, there is a theory, because there was a deleted scene in this where Vlad meets Baba Yaga. And the witch, by the way, folks, the one with the chicken leg house. And there is a theory that, well, Baba Yaga was the one that turned Caligula. And it's like, well, possible. She is a witch. She probably lived quite a long time. So, another fun fact, Dracula Untold is director Gary Shore's first feature film. Actress Sarah Gadon, who plays Marina, wife of Vlad, called Gary Shore a baby Spielberg because he got all this kind of youthful zest and zeal for romance and love, and it's like a real kind of early Spielberg stuff. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
I'd say maybe a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know exactly if it's like necessarily the best comparison. Yeah. But at the same time, I wasn't on set to personally experience it. So I'm only going off of like the movie itself. Mm-hmm. So probably would factor in how he is on set and how he directs the actors and so forth. So
yeah. And so then we get to him. He's like, now what? Well, now you die. And then he wakes up out in the woods and face down in the water. So it's like, how did you not drown? And then he sees his hand is healing
Mm-hmm.
right here. We'll just play this little bit here. As you can see, the hand healing. He's like, that's useful. And 32. Oh. Or he also sees animals out in the woods. He can hear the scraping sound, which is a spider spinning a web around a bug.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. You can also see the eyes kind of glow behind the iris or behind the pupils, which is, I like that effect in this movie. 3208. And I'm also going to play a little bit here because he looks up, and using his vampire vision, he can see through the clouds and just see the universe and literally the galaxy's tail, because apparently that was going on at the time, which is nice. And then he hears cannon fire, and it's like, oh shit, time to go. Also, he had to take off his ring because his ring started to burn him. Because it was silver. Yep.
Which is accurate to vampire lore.
Yeah. So then he hears the cannon fire, ties up the string to the silver so he can wear it still, and he's running. And I love this because right here is where he gets the whole, oh shit, kind of thing. Because he's like, what the hell just happened? Because that's when he turned into bats for the first time. And then he stops right here and it's like, well, okay. Now we get to this area here where he finally gets back to the castle. Or actually, let's see here. Because there's one other person in the crowd, which I am hoping to see here. Because it's actually very important to Luke Evans, the person in the crowd. No. Right here. Let's play a little bit. All right. That guy that raised his hand there, right here, or let's see here, right here with my mouse. That is Luke Evans' father.
Huh.
And apparently he's been in a few movies that Luke Evans has played in as an extra.
That's interesting. All right.
Yep. Yeah, I found that out in watching the special features to this movie. It's always good to watch special features, folks, because you get to learn pretty cool little things here and there. Nice little secrets and whatnot. So yeah, Luke Evans' father was in this movie playing just a villager that's like, what the fuck are you going to do now that you're back? Well, we get Vlad versus 1,000. And let's see here. 36-33. Because I will play it, folks. I will play it. But I will also have to pause it when I do play it. Or pause here and there. Because that way we don't get hit with a strike. So right here is this scene where he's fighting the 1,000, and we see what's going on in the sword here, where bats are flying around. I mean, this scene was just very well done. And it's a nice, or this dude is just still falling. And finally he falls down. And I love how it shows that he just grabs the sword and just keeps walking.
That is a very good shot. So
yeah. And then you see the people flying up and down, and then hits this guy here.
Yeah.
So, God dang it. Vlad then tells his people, it's like, do not ask me what happened on this field tonight. Just know I will keep you all safe. And I will use everything in my power to do so. So, yeah. Bunch of people here, dead. But there's a deleted scene where he actually goes into the tent of the commander, who is Commander Ishmael, not the one from Moby Dick, so you guys aren't confused. He actually does the vampire voodoo on his mind, and there's another deleted scene in which he attacks Mehmed when Mehmed comes around to see what the hell happened. Except that they didn't put that in the movie. They used a different take where he just basically gives Ishmael a message that he hopes he enjoys the view. Now, let's see here. Fun fact, Caligula, the Roman emperor who ruled from 37 AD to 41 AD, was known for his cruelty, sadism, extravagance, and sexual perversity.
Mm-hmm.
Presenting him as an insane tyrant, the abilities Vlad gains after visiting Caligula include speaking without opening his mouth, flying, jumping, immortality, healing capabilities, and also a lot of confidence. Right. Anyway, we then see, or let's see, what happened, or where are we here? There's a report back to Vlad he also has them evacuate to go to Tosia Monastery. They're all taking a run. Mehmed learned that that Vlad bested 1,000, so he's like, okay, we're going to send 100,000 instead. And I'll have his head on a pike and his son at my side. And then Vlad tells his men, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to end this war in 3 days. Well, he then can't stand the hearing of people gnashing and chewing. Believe me, that drives me nuts too, folks. If you are in the same room as me and you cannot freaking eat quietly, it will drive me nuts. I will leave the room. You won't know why, but I will just leave the room without saying a damn word. Because if I hear this, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. Let's just say that. Now, also, this scene where he finally starts to get it on with his wife and then has to leave because he starts to feel the urge to feed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, I understand that in real life he is gay.
Yes.
I understand that you may be gay, but God, man, you should have at least sealed the deal here. She's not exactly unpretty. She's actually very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But I also this scene is also important too, because she touches his back and that confused look she has, because remember earlier in the film, he had scars on his back. So she's like, wait, what is going on?
Yeah.
I don't feel scars on my husband's back anymore. Apparently, his vampirism also helps him heal scars. And I'm thinking to myself, that is something that is new, because everything that, well, remember Blade, the movie Blade with Wesley Snipes?
Mm-hmm.
Deacon had a scar that didn't heal because he was turned after he had got that scar. So yeah, vampirism in this movie heals scars. Other vampire movies, no, that doesn't happen. You keep your scars. But he ends up having to leave because, well, he doesn't want to, you can actually see right here the telltale pulsing
mm-hmm.
in her neck. So it's like, woo, food. And then we also see that he's having visions of feeding on her, the master vampire leaving the cave. So he jumps up. She's like, what is it? And he's like, I need air. So he then runs into Skelgin, the guy who found the helmet. And Skelgin, as you pointed out, was very much like a Renfield character.
Yes.
And he says originally, I'm following them, the bats. And he talks about how one who has escaped the cave I know that there's nowhere to run in this world if one such as you exists. So he's fully willing to serve Vlad as a vampire, or he's fully willing to serve him.
Yeah.
And it's like, Vlad does not have any of it. And
yeah.
He offers him his blood, and then he slams him up against a tree. He's like, "Stay away from me." Yes, master. I mean, you even get the yes, master. And so then the next day, we get, let's see here. Vlad sends a message. He hopes you enjoy the view. So while everybody was leaving, Vlad decided to do a little bit of battlefield cleanup. Don't you just love the view, folks?
Definitely sends a message, and that is what Vlad did.
Yeah.
Actual Vlad in history, like outside his castle, would leave the bodies of those he impaled, like right there for people to see. So then the next morning, he, or I'm not gonna jump to that scene next, but he's laying in his tent, and Morena checks on him, and he's shivering. Well, she sees that his ring is burning his skin, so he pulls it off, and he wakes him up, and she's like, "Your scars are gone. What is happening to you?" "I'm what men fear unbroken, I am what men fear unbroken tooth." And then he slices a hole in the tent, letting the sun in, burning himself, and she's like, "Stop," or she cares about him so much, she's like, "No, stop that." And he explains the truth to her. He's like, "This is the power you saw it?" "Yes, because instead of sending our son, I sent Mehmed corpses. So I needed this power to help save our people." And he explains that all I need to do is resist the temptation to feed for 3 days, and we will be fine. And she's like, "If you were to give in, then I become this for eternity." I love how he is able to be honest, because you don't see that a lot anymore, folks. He's fully honest with Morena. He tells her, "If I give in, I will become this for eternity." And, well, they are newly converted to, or at this time, people of Romania were starting to convert to Catholicism or Christianity at the time. And she's like, if you can resist, then God will forgive you, which is a nice little touch there. So he's like, "Just tell them that we got to go." And we then get to the people were found out by the Turks, because the Turks started finding them. And let me get to scouts found them. And,
Vlad is stuck in the tent because the sun is out. And so he's waiting patiently for the sun to go down. And I'll just play this small bit here. As soon as the second the sun goes down, boom, he is on his way. But unfortunately, it's not in time to save his friend Dimitru, who is protecting Morena and Ingaris from the Turkish scouts. Now, let me see if I can get to that one. 50 minutes directly, or 50 minutes in, because that is a great scare. Because he literally scares this dude off a cliff.
I did like this. I did like the scene, and I was happy when this one finally met his end. Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't meet his end here, but this is such a great shot where he just comes right up, scares the dude right off the cliff.
Yes,
I mean that would scare anybody. I'm serious. I would have shit myself, and then I would have fallen off the cliff. So, yeah, he saves him, but because Dimitru was still alive for a little bit longer, he noticed what Vlad did. So he's trying to tell him, just listen, but he doesn't understand, so he's dead. Dimitri, listen, but unfortunately he dies. Also, Ingress sees Dimitri dead, so it's like, don't ever listen again, please.
Yeah.
So now finally at the Kosian Monastery, also the carrier pigeons that the Turks had ended up being delivered back to Mehmed, so Mehmed now knows of also Bright Eyes survived. So he was able to bring back word that Vlad has powers of being able to turn into bats. So yeah, in order to protect his soldiers, he blindfolds them. That's actually quite clever. You know? That's actually quite clever.
Mm-hmm. They can't be afraid of what they can't see, so.
Yep. And so then the monk, Lucian here, notices that Vlad is kind of sticking to the shadows, and, well, he turns into a real ass.
Yeah, in this scene, I was like what the fuck are you doing? Part of me gets where he's coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, if Vlad wanted to kill you all, he could have killed you all by now. So it's like, maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, and he brings up a silver sword, and he's like, let me kill you. Yeah. You do better to run. I mean, I wouldn't have said that. It's like, just please trust me for this, or just trust me and let me explain, instead of, you do well to run, Lucian. I'm like, I wouldn't have said that, because, well, Lucian slices open the tent.
Yes.
Which causes this to happen. And Marina is doing her best to talk them down. And that doesn't exactly work. But I do like what she tells the boy. Is like, get my son out of here. Do not let him look outside. She knows what's about to happen. Mm-hmm. She knows that her husband will survive it because he's also bleeding out shadows to cut off the sun.
Yeah.
That is a protective instinct, so to speak. And when he comes out, this shot where he comes out is just freaking insane, man. It's like, this is your loyalty?
Yeah.
You all think you're alive because you can fight? You are alive because of me. Because of what I did to save you. He also pulls out a plank here, ready to impale people. And freaking Lucian here decides to start backing up, like, oh shit, what did I do? Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
And I mean, go ahead.
Vlad is correct. It's like, his people aren't warriors.
Yeah.
Like I said, if he wanted to kill them before now, he could have. He's been a vampire for at least a day. This is the second day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they would all be dead if he had so chosen. But the fact that they're alive, like, maybe take that into consideration before you start trying to kill your king, essentially wanting him dead.
Yeah, and then Marina steps in. This is not who you are, which does calm him. And he then tells him, he's like, get back to your stations and be afraid because there is still more to fear. Mm-hmm. And then he does his prayer. And Ingress, who just witnessed this whole damn thing, does what any son would. He's naive to the facts. He's ignorant to the facts of what is going on. He believes this curse happened to his father because he didn't give his son up. So he brings his father some bread, and he tells him, he's like, you'll be forgiven, and they'll understand and whatnot. He's trying to comfort his father. And he's understanding of his father's plight. And that is really good acting on the kid's part, because it really is it shows a child's naivete, but it also shows that this kid is understanding to a point of what is going on with his father. He understands that he's sick. He understands that he's that this happened because he wasn't turned over, because it falls in line with the same time of him becoming sick. But he knows that everything will be all right if his father can hold out. So another fun fact, even though Vlad does not feel the need to drink human blood, he does everything he can to resist it out of the love for his family and for his people. And when he goes to bite someone, we will see a physical transformation that's unique to this film, according to Luke Evans. So then the Turks are coming. And, he's looking, or I like how he's looking out to see that the Turks are coming in. And the Turks start to arrive. And we get their wedding vow. Why think separately of this life and the next when one is born from the last? It is basically, it speaks to kind of like yearning. And if you're not going to be together in this life, you will definitely be together in the next.
Yes.
So then we get to one of the best freaking scenes in this movie, calling the bats. 102.14. But he starts calling them here. And they start coming from everywhere, folks. These guys are marching. You can see the bats are flying up right here. I mean, I love how they're swirling up like that. And even Vlad or Morena and Ingaris are seeing this, which is so freaking cool. And they're like, well, yeah. I mean, this is such a nice shot here. I'm not going to play it too long. Hopefully. Okay, good. That's enough because I don't want to risk getting pulled. Getting the stream pulled. Yeah.
Phrasing.
Yeah, right. So he actually, I like how he guides the bats with his hand. And when he sticks up his hand, the bats form a hand. So then he then brings it down, throws them into the war against the Turks.
Yeah.
Which is, let's see here. He's also searching for Mehmed. There's a hand, dark hand, and he just sends them in. I mean, look at how they are just going, folks. So then he brings up his hand again, makes a fist with the bats.
And then just bam, right?
Yep, just slams it down.
He basically Hulk smashes bats in this scene.
Yeah, it's bat smash. There you go.
Yeah.
And then he sees Mehmed in his armor right there, and he goes for it, except that it's not Mehmed. It was a decoy.
Yeah.
And all of this, all the while, he's looking for Mehmed, except that these guys had also come in ahead of the army, and they put Ingaris and Morena in danger. So, yeah. They're pretty much dead at this point. Well, Ingaris was to be taken alive. And he notices Mehmed in the crowd. So then he also hears her in danger. And there's Mehmed with his soldiers. We see that Ingaris is taken. And she ends up falling. And we get this very tragic moment here. This scene here, it's like, will he catch her or not? But we all know that that is not the case. And I do like how he has the fangs here because he is doing his damnedest to get there, except it doesn't work. Wait a second. Go back. It almost looks like his hand is completely detached, or his arm is detached up here. doesn't it?
A little bit. I guess that basically it's like he's going from human form to bats, human form to bats, human form to bats, because he's trying to be faster than she is falling.
And she has her arms outstretched, if she would have spread her, don't take this the wrong way, spread her legs, she was wearing a dress, it could have given a little bit of a more resistance.
A bit.
Yeah. Okay, people in the chat, this is your cue to laugh. Spreading your legs to save your life. But anyway, we all learned that it's not exactly works, and the Turks leave, the bigger army goes to leave, and a small contingent is left behind to slaughter everybody there. So, yeah, everybody's getting slaughtered. And he has her feed, or she tells him to feed. Now, when she says, "Drink my blood," they cut to the master, and his head just cocks a little bit to the side, like, this is it. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
He's hearing the entire conversation. I mean, he's a lot older. He knows exactly what's going to happen. So, I mean, I wish I could play it for you all. And he's like, "I'm not going to take your life." She's like, "My life's already lost. Use it to save our son." And so, yeah, right here. So, let's go back 5 seconds. Right there, he's hearing this entire conversation. So, he knows he's about to be free.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely love that when he does feed, I believe it's 108.35. Well, actually, I could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom. So he just fed, and we get this nice little look of a demonic face right here. So this is now Vlad has given in. And, well, he's now free from the cave.
Mm-hmm.
So now shit's about to go everywhere, folks. And, well, Vlad now needs an army. So, why not? Go to the survivors, offer them a chance at vengeance, and, well, you shall be reborn. He turns the survivors of his people.
Yes, which is, I actually got a kick out of that, because his great question was, "Do you want vengeance?"
And that guy there, he's like, a weak nod. And then everybody else is looking on, like, gonna feed us too?
At that point, like, you know, it's like that point they don't care what he is, pretty much.
Yeah, because they realize this is another chance to live.
Yeah.
So another fun fact, roughly 2/3 of Dracula Untold was shot on location, and 1/3 of it was shot on stage. The film will also feature the Borgo Pass, a high mountain range pass in the Romanian Borgo Mountains, which is known as Borgo Pass.
Yeah.
That portion of the film was shot in a rock quarry and will involve a significant amount of set extension work. Vlad's people are killed, and Vlad feeds the Willow Marina. Luke Evans was approached. Oh, I already talked about that one. Another fun fact: the cave set that was created, or the cave sets were created, 3 cave sets were created for specific shots. The long tunnel near the entrance, the outer set, and the main set where Vlad bargains with Caligula. So now, let's see here. He's fed all of his boys, he's fed all of his the village people. And 111, we get this shot here. Because now Vlad is coming for his son and to kill Mehmed.
And at full power.
Yep.
Like he's literally controlling the elements to block the sun
and
coming for him at the second.
I mean, if you really look at the clouds, they almost kind of resemble a bat. This cloud formation, but also it really is kind of cool. And then you see this almost like a screaming skull right there. So it's like, yeah, he's no longer playing around. I mean, that is just such great work. So yeah, Vlad put on his armor. Now, one of the things that we actually didn't cover was his son asked him what is behind that closed door when they were at the monastery, and he's like, something I hope to never use again.
Which is
his armor. Because this was the armor he used when he was at his darkest time. Well, now he's back to darkest. Or this is Dark Vlad, folks. This is a guy, by the way, I'm sorry to the chat for not highlighting comments. I'm focusing on the talking points and the timestamps, so I am sorry about that. I hope everybody will understand. So, yeah, just imagine what the master could do, right? So let's see here. The vampire is 1:11:45. So go 20 seconds ahead. So yeah, this vampire chick comes in. I love this shot here. I'm gonna play a little bit here. It's like, haha. She's just fully enjoying it. The vampirism, I mean, that wicked smile that was on her face, and then nice little fade. Let's see if we could find Bright Eyes here. We get slaughtered. Oh yeah, the general's like, I thought there was too many of you. Now there's not enough. That was such a great shot. Oh, what is that noise?
That was my text tone. Sorry. Sibling group chat.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, I love this shot here where Bright Eyes is fighting vamps. He's like, okay, let's bring it on. And let's not. Oh, shit. But yeah, he gets stuck here, he gets pinned to the post. And I'm thinking, dude, is your heart on the left? or is your heart on the left or the right? Oh, yeah, that's the kid that was supposed to help Ingerus into the house, but didn't. So yeah. Now that kid finally got hit or kills Bright Eyes. And we get to the tent. Now, how does the Sultan know about the weakness to silver? Because we know that he knows about that Vlad has dark power, but how does he know about the weakness to silver? That I wish they had explained, because it just doesn't make sense. You know?
Well, it doesn't quite make sense, but I can kind of excuse it a bit because vampire legend actually goes back to literally ancient times. So it's not exactly a stretch of plausibility that he would have an inkling of what powers Vlad has at that point. It's like, it's he literally watched Vlad when Vlad heard his family screaming and how he left. So I would say it stands to reason that he probably figured it out at that point, or at least had an idea. And like I said, the vampire lore itself goes back thousands of years.
Goes back to the ancient Greeks, because believe it or not, there is Greek origin to it.
Yeah, so it's not a stretch that he would have figured something out, and at the very least, if he was wrong, then this would have done nothing. But if he's right, so it it confirms at this point.
Yeah.
So,
and also the this effect right here, folks, the shot of Mehmed, is what happens when a vampire is around a lot of silver. His vision is skewed from the silver. And yes. I love that. Catching the silver and letting it burn. It's like, dude, stop giving him information about your weaknesses. So then we get to this lovely, nice little, let's see if I could find the right shot here. Let's see here. Right. Or he's like, how long can you last in here? Long enough to strike your names from the history books, which was a great line. Yeah, right there. Now, yeah, right here, these shots here, where it showed, well, let's, right here. God dang it. Yeah, this shot here, Luke Evans has a camera rig around his waist to give him a, or the up-close look to his face, where he's screaming from the silver ring up down on him, which was a nice little touch because, well, yeah, that's kind of painful.
I did like the sword choreography in this scene.
Oh yeah,
it's severely lacking in certain franchises nowadays. Pretty much like,
right.
Like an actual fight choreography with swords.
Yeah, and also Ingress is forced to watch this.
Yeah,
which is like, dude, it's seriously cruel. So let's see here. And he actually overcomes Vlad because of all the silver, but he's not able to get the full coup de grace. And I like how the wooden stake here is dissolving the armor.
Yeah.
As you can clearly see, small pauses. But you also see here in the foreground, this little red leaflet bit of armor starts to turn into a bat wing. So you know basically what he's about to do. He turns it to the bat, and yeah. And he tells him, fitting in for Lord Impaler, he's like, that is no longer my name. My name is Dracula, son of the devil. It's like, well, you're definitely going to hell now. And then
what we didn't touch on is that I can't remember which character says this, but like does call him son of the devil, and Vlad corrects him because Dracula actually means son of dragon, because Dracul is dragon.
Yeah.
So hence Dracula, son of dragon. So he corrects him. But at this point, he's no longer Vlad.
Yep.
He is now
Dracula.
So that is the devil.
Yeah. He is now. He's turned his back on his conversion because, well, Marina is gone. And I like this bit here because if you look closely at the eyes, let's go back a little bit by bit. His eyes are normal here, but they slowly go full black. So basically, yeah, he's in full demon bit. And then he gives a nice little roar. And then his eyes go back to normal again. And, well, Mehmed is now struck from the history books, folks. But it isn't over yet.
There's a little continuity error there, because you don't see... He bites him on that side of the neck.
Yeah.
But there's no blood. There's not even holes. Like, you don't see anything.
He just ripped his throat open, essentially, and no blood.
Yeah.
No blood at all.
Yeah.
So he comes out.
Continuity error, but
yeah. So he comes out, and his vamps are all still feeding. And I like how this one basically tells you what the problem is, or what the problem is about to be. She's looking not at her master, but at Ingress. And, well, the old goat here he's like, how many are alive? None, except for your son, of course. How many times have I told you over and over since you were a boy? A prince's duty is to that of his people, and he is now a distraction that we can dispense with. Well, that line that he delivered to Bright Eyes in the tribute scene, "You forget who I am." He did all of this to protect his son.
Yeah.
And by the way, folks, in most vampire lore, those you turn have a loyalty to you or have some sort of loyalty to you. That is not the case here. These vampires are feral. These vampires are all ganging up, ready to slaughter him.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is like trying to his son to go to him, but it's not going to work. So he goes and impales. And, well, that's the goriest bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where he just starts to get torn apart from being staked. And then we finally get the, yeah, that's a great shot. These guys are all about to come in after him. Except that, well, yeah, he shows up with a cross. Now, let me see here. Right there, yeah. This is in a vampire's POV, folks, where the Holy Cross is basically a force that is absolutely repulsive to them. They cannot go anywhere near it.
Yeah.
And considering that guy is a monk and very devout, there's no chance in hell that they could even come close to him. The plot of a certain other movie. Can you guess what it is? No, Hardwick, I cannot. But I'm guessing you're going to tell me.
I can't think of it either.
I'm at a loss.
So like this, like you point out, this kind of did break lore in a sense, and that is like typically one who's turned.
Yeah.
There is a connection and a loyalty to the one who did the turning.
Sort of like a sire bond.
Yes. So I guess like you could excuse it in the sense that Dracula is not the master vampire that he becomes, that we know him as.
Yeah.
At this point, he's very much
still
new himself at being a vampire because he had just bitten his wife to basically fully embrace that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of excuse it because he's doesn't have that control yet.
Yeah. And the let's see here. Ailment. So when they come in, or he comes in, he tells Lucian to take care of his son.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells him, you have to go and I will always love you. And I'm going to get to it because right here. He's safe now, Morena. And then Vlad just lets the son in. Knowing himself is about to be burned.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, he kills all of those he turned because he knows that there's no chance that his son will survive if he doesn't kill them all. And we get the most crispy looking dad ever. So, yeah, this shot here just really sells it, where he's just screaming out. I mean, he's put it off for as long as he could, but it does eventually start to hurt. And we all think that he might be dead, finally. But, yeah. Like, Ingress is crowned, not king, but prince, and he explains that Vlad's memory is stricken from the books because of what he became, and all the silver that was his face would be melted and erased for further, or melted and reforged with a different coin of the realm. And Skelgen drags Vlad into a tent and gives him some blood. Now, trying to right here, this shot here where a little bit of blood, immediately he starts to regenerate, which is nice. And right here is where Ingress is looking at the silver being melted, and well, now Vlad is back. And we're now in modern times, where we get the final scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I still say, like, if I were doing this as a trilogy, I would have the middle movie set during a time Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, and have like the Inception irony where Bram is inspired to write Dracula by the very deeds Dracula is committing in London.
And here he stops as he's walking by because he hears a very familiar face, and a recitation of the poem, or of their wedding vows years ago. This is a reincarnation, folks. This isn't Marina. So as she's getting ready to walk away, he recites their old wedding vows. Why think separately from this life than the last one, or than this life from the next, when one is born from the last? Turns out it's her favorite poem. And her name is Mina.
Mina, yes.
So, yeah. But we have another person paying attention. Which is Caligula is alive and well. And we get to let the games begin as he's following them out. Now, I'm going to stop sharing this before we get the things pulled. And that is the end of the movie, essentially. Now, let's see here. There are some other facts that I didn't really get into. Let's see here. Yes, Vlad is based on Vlad III, or Vlad Tepes, which translates into Vlad the Impaler.
Yes.
There are a lot of biased history books out there. Luke Evans, who plays Vlad Tepes, insisted that Vlad wasn't such a bad guy. He wasn't a terrifying warlord, but rather a revered leader. That's because they all were afraid of his ass.
Yes. Fear will do that. Fear will do that.
His tombstone even says he was a great ruler and respected by his enemies. That's because he was such a freaking slaughter monkey.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude impaled. You freaking steal something like a piece of bread, you're impaled. Like I said, folks, you sleep with your neighbor's husband, you're impaled. You freaking bite your kid, you're impaled. I mean, you break any type of law, you're dead. That was the law back then. I mean, it's like, are you fucking serious?
I would say respect born of fear, but also respect from his enemies because of how far he was willing to go. Like, because basically, as much as enemies don't want to admit it, they do respect strength.
Yes.
They don't respect weakness. If he had been weak, he would not have been respected by his enemies. So it's one of those cruel twists of irony.
Yeah. So that is Dracula Untold. How would you rate it out of 10?
Out of 10, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. Objectively, like, it does have, like, a little bit of continuity issues. Like, certain things should have been, I think, at least written better in the script. Like, for example, I can explain some things, but some things aren't exactly, like, necessarily properly explained to the audience, like, how does Mehmet II know about the silver? How's he figure, like, put two and two together that, like, silver would do this? I will say that as tragic as the scene is with his wife, her falling from that distance, she would not be alive.
No, she wouldn't have.
I cannot turn my brain off at that point to say, like, it's believable that she would have survived that fall. But I would probably go as high as an 8, but really no more than an 8, because, like I said, there is a little bit of a storytelling discrepancies, a little bit of continuity problems, but for the most part, like I said, I do appreciate the what if scenario, like what if Vlad actually did become Dracula.
Now
history.
Now I know what he's referencing. Holy shit. It's Star Wars. Yeah, this does kind of copy the life of Anakin Skywalker. Burned to a crisp. His kid becomes a black-clad monster. And wife dies. And his son is put under the protection of a holy man. Which the Jedi the Force was the religion of that era, or of that universe. Oh my God. Now, thanks, Hardwick. You just fucking ruined this movie for me. Nah, I'm serious. Objectively speaking, yeah, I agree. It is a 7.5. There are inconsistencies, continuity errors, things that aren't fully fleshed out. There is a lot about this movie that you wish was a little bit more detailed. However, they cut as much as they could to make this movie an hour 30-ish.
Even with credits, it's an hour and 30-ish minutes. So really, like, if you remove the credits, it's like, like the when you pause it there, it's only about an hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah.
They're pretty short by today's standards and as far as movies go.
Sean Bird's not happy about it. He says it's a 2 out of 10.
I don't look at it as an actual history of Vlad the Impaler or Dracula. I take it as purely I literally said at the beginning of the stream, do not get your history from Hollywood. So if it tried to pass itself off as an actual historical drama / horror, so to speak, then yes, I would have problems with it, because they do play fast and loose with Vlad's history. Like, for example, they don't mention the fact that Vlad has 3 brothers. They don't mention the fact that Vlad actually waged war against his younger brother, who had sided with the Turks and so forth, and killed his younger brother after trying to assume the throne, at least once, and then finally assuming it after defeating his brother, pretty much. So it does play fast and loose with that aspect of Vlad's character, but at the same time, it doesn't pass itself off as actual history. So it's kind of like 300. It's kind of like 300. Yes, there was an actual last stand of 300 at Thermopylae, but it's not history.
Yeah.
It's not.
They make it a lot more grander for the movie in 300, where they slaughtered hundreds of thousands of Xerxes' men, where they only pretty much slaughtered maybe at most 5,000. At most, folks. Yeah. That's being generous, by the way.
That's why, it's like with this movie, I give this movie a pass, because it never portrays itself as this is an actual biography of sorts of Vlad the Impaler. This is more like, I'm going to write this what if fan fiction, so to speak, about Vlad the Impaler, and I'm going to put my own twist on it.
Yeah. So. I mean, as they said, Luke Evans wanted him to be seen as more revered and more compassionate, rather than the psychotic historical figure that we all know him to be. I'm fine with that. Glorious Bastards was great. Yeah. That's because, didn't Quentin Tarantino do Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah.
Tarantino has a habit of changing historical events.
Is literal revisionist history.
Yeah. I mean, look at...
But entertaining.
Yeah. Very much. Look at Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, I'm watching that movie, and then suddenly they get up to the Manson family murders, and I'm thinking to myself, that is not how it happened. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, subjectively, I would put this movie at about a 9. It really does hold good. I enjoy it. However, I could still see some of the problems, which are just undeniable. Moviegoer, based on entertainment value alone, this movie is a 10 out of 10. It keeps my ass in the seat. I enjoy it. It works. So, without further ado, the thumbnail I do have made for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to be doing Daybreakers next week, folks. If this thing would just fucking load. And download. Should have had it brought up, but, I'm lazy. There it is.
I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised you haven't seen Daybreakers, Trey.
Did I just hear what?
He says it'll be first time watch for me. So I'm honestly surprised he's not seen Daybreakers.
Trey, as much as I love you, brother, if I was standing next to you, I would give you the Gibb slap.
Yeah.
Right upside the head, man. You would deserve the Gibb slap for that one. But let me get this thing up here. Present share screen. Breakers. Yeah. So, yeah. I was going to do the full quote. However, they don't allow you to put swear words in thumbnails.
So it's taking a while to load for me. I don't know if it's...
Yeah, it's still taking a bit to load here on this side. There we go.
All right.
It's like, I do like a good barbecue. I mean, that's one of the best lines in the movie. Mm-hmm. But the full line is fuck it. I do like a good barbecue.
Again, folks, another interesting take on vampires.
Yeah. And believe me, there were some things that I even didn't know about this movie, and I've seen this movie is good, but we'll discuss it when we get there next week. Mara, thank you so much for joining. Mm-hmm. Why don't you give yourself a plug while I get rid of the screen?
Yeah. So hello, I go by Mara Jade. My YouTube channel is Jade Shadow. So currently trying to get back into putting out videos, but I don't believe in clickbait type videos. So even if the topic itself is trending on what's not X or whatever, even whatever, if I don't care about the topic, I'm not going to talk about it. So I don't care if people are talking about Ahsoka. I don't give a shit about the show. I'm not going to talk about it. So that's just me personally. So videos are a little bit few and far between, but I do cover multiple topics on solo live streams that I do early Friday afternoons on my live channel, Jade Shadow Live, where I'll be talking about some pop culture cringe, like what Alan Moore has said, like where he wants his money to go to. That is BLM. Yes. And other topics tomorrow before I do an afternoon gaming stream, since I can't stream in the evening, and I won't be able to do an afternoon gaming stream on Saturday, but Talk Nerdy to Us should be going on Saturday evening, but on the earlier side on My Nerdy Homes channel, because again, I can't do the stream at the normal time. But yeah, so I do gaming streams on my Kick, and at least once a week, sometimes maybe twice a week, depending on my Twitch channel, but I'm primarily focusing on building up my Kick channel. So tune into that. So Sunday will be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So we'll be playing with a couple others. Either playing as a family trying to kill the victims, or playing the victims trying to escape from the family home. And at some point I will fucking escape the damn family as a victim. So yeah. That's just, yeah. So both my That's my second channel and my Twitch. And like I said, I do primarily focus on Kick, so building that up. That's just that's me. So,
and this is where you guys can find me on X or Orange or X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. And I'm right there with Mara, folks. I'm not a clickbaiter. I actually kind of detest clickbaiters because you can go the route that they go to get the clicks, get the likes, get the me. No shade at anybody who is a clickbaiter. Well, actually, all the shade. There's a matter of integrity that I care about, you know? And if you go the clickbait route, you're sacrificing integrity, and integrity is something I do hold dear. So, yes, if my content is few and far between, that is because there is a lack of content that is important to me. Me, I'm covering the Rachel Zegler stuff because I do believe it is important. I am covering the Poor Thing stuff, which I do believe was important enough to get out. And I'm covering the Alec Baldwin stuff, which unfortunately hasn't heard anything as of 2 weeks ago, except for the fact that he's scared shitless because he might actually go to prison. Thank God. But anyway, here's hoping.
Yeah.
But yes, that is where
covering Rings of Power, and but that entails basically ripping into shill articles. I don't really care about the news surrounding it per se. Just if someone tries to defend anything in that show, I will rip it to shreds. And I've my past few videos have been that case where I've ripped 3 Screaming articles to shreds in that regard, trying to defend blatant retcons.
Trey, I can make you, or I will make you a mod. So, yeah. Just give me a moment while I get that going. And also, Trey, I can make you. There we go. Turn that down. Load, you foolish thing. Alrighty, there we go. Trey. Hold on. Thing jumped. There. Trey. Add as moderator. Manage moderator. Can review and remove chat messages. Hide and put users in timeout. And manage block chat mods and live. Also, capability of standard mod. Managing moderator, I believe, is the one that they do nowadays. I mean, there's 2 different mods. That's weird. I liked it when it was all simple, you know? Screen Rant wants Arnold cameo and Prey 2,
which is doesn't make sense because it sets 200 plus years before the events in Predator.
Wait, Prey 2, or they finalized Prey 2's story?
Not necessarily the story, but the Screaming article saying, "Oh, it could still make sense if we see Arnold." Meanwhile, there's no way if they're setting it close to when the events of Prey take place. There's no way because it takes place 200 plus years before the events of Predator. So it's
I mean, Prey was 400 years ago.
And Prey they changed 2, the origin of the gun.
Yeah, because there was
Danny
a comic.
Glover's character. Yeah, Danny Glover's character.
There was a comic.
So yeah.
Also, that gun looks a little bit different too.
Yeah.
I mean, still, I liked the Prey movie. I actually thought it was pretty good. But I do also acknowledge that there are problems with it. I mean, the director, I think it was Trachtenberg, or whoever it was, he actually did a good job at explaining before the movie came out. And he also did clarifications, which is important, folks. It's this is not the predator, or this is not the species' first hunt on Earth. This is just this specific predator's first hunt on Earth. So, yeah. And
which I was fine with. And one thing I will disagree with people that, she was not exactly a Mary Sue, but there are moments where it's yeah, you're touching that line.
Yeah, you're heading to, or believe me, I've defended a lot of because a lot of people are a special ops team goes in the jungle, gets slaughtered by a predator. This one beats. It's learn the details, folks. Details are important. This thing was taking damage throughout the entire film, and also the one in Predator was a very seasoned hunter. This one was a newbie, newly blooded. So yeah, that's a whole nother time for another time, man. Folks, just look up my videos and shorts even that are about Prey, and yeah, I'll give you all of the proper details and whatnot. Anyway, that is gonna be it for tonight. Mara, thank you so much for joining, not tuning in.
Yeah.
And Trey, happy Dino 8000, good to see you. Soul Assassin, Gravy D, RR, Elena, Sean Bird. There was a lot of folks that joined tonight. Vanya, Trey Courtney. Let's see here. I try to call out as many as I can. Hardwick Bentho, thank you for coming in. Let's see here. There, let's just make it load all the way up. And I'm sorry I missed a lot of people in the chat. Skyhound, thank you for coming in. Price is Right Review, thank you for coming in. And Keely Chow, always a pleasure, dude. You've been, dude, you are like the heart of the community, Keely. I mean, he is everywhere, folks. And that is awesome. Let's see here. Epi the Oz, good, or thank you for coming in. There's a few others, I do believe, like one or two. Elena Knock, Gravy D, and yeah, that is all of them. Alrighty, folks. Make sure that you stay tuned for next week. Evil Dead on Mara's and Daybreakers on mine.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2.
Yep.
So you have until next Wednesday at 8 p.m. to watch the sequel to the 1981 film.
Yep. And also, I will be doing Batman versus Ninja Turtles on Tuesday afternoon at 1:30. And yeah, this Saturday I will not have any content unless it's probably a short, because I will be going down to Albany for a quick spell for a couple of things and then heading back, and that's like a 6-hour drive back and forth. So yeah, Sunday, that's my day of rest. I know, biblical, right? But
yeah,
I need a break on Sundays and sometimes even Saturdays because, well, I gotta unwind. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Mars and my channel for ones and twos and singles. Y'all have a wonderful day. Let me pull up our outro because I like my little outro clip. It's only 6 seconds, but it works. And have a wonderful day, folks. And always remember, stay humble.
Are you done? Are you done?